The U.S. government is shutting down, and here's what you need to know. At midnight Eastern time, the government is shutting down. In fact, the White House has already given the order to begin the shutdown procedure.
Well, I'm just leaving Capitol Hill, and brace yourselves because we are headed to a government shutdown. So what exactly happened? Well, tonight, Senate Republicans forced a vote on a bill to keep the government funded. Democrats blocked that. They say they will not agree to keep the government funded until Republicans agree to reverse cuts to Medicaid and also to extend expiring Obamacare subsidies so that healthcare premiums do not go up for millions of Americans. Republicans say they're willing to talk about all that, but not while the government is shut down. So here's the bottom line. There needs to be compromise in order to avert a government shutdown. There is not compromise at this point. So what does this all mean? Well, it means that 4 million federal workers could go without pay. That includes 2 million troops and also TSA workers, air traffic controllers. It's going to be another long day tomorrow. Democrats and Republicans have already left the Capitol, so I am heading home too. The government shuts down at midnight.
Shut it down. Shut it all the way down and blame it on the Democrats because it is their fault. If the government shut down, it is the fault of the Democrats, and Republicans don't cave. Don't fall for the okie doke. President Donald J. Trump, don't fall for the okie doke. Let the government shut down. And you want to know why the Democrats want to shut it down? Because the Republicans are refusing to give free health care to illegal immigrants. They ain't supposed to be here any damn way. Free health care, Americans don't even get free health care. So why in the world do y'all want illegal immigrants to get free health care when Americans don't even get free health care? Make it make sense. And so y'all want the American people to suffer because you want illegal immigrants who are going to be deported anyway to get free health care? What? Shut it down.
Trump wants the government to shut down. He is using this as an excuse to scapegoat Democrats so he can lay off federal workers and not get blamed and to exert maximum pain. The Democrats don't want to shut this down. The President of the United States and all of his little minions are lying to you. Federal law does not allow for taxpayer funds to be used to fund health care for undocumented immigrants. Period. He is so blatantly lying that if you still support him, you should really take a look to see what else he would be lying about. This is a game to him. He thinks that healthcare is an unserious and ridiculous demand. This isn't about Democrats standing on principle or standing up to Trump either. This is about the millions of Americans who will face exponentially higher health insurance costs or lose coverage if the Democrats back down and give Trump what he's demanding. Some of those people you may even know. The president is lying to further his own political agenda and putting millions of Americans' health at risk to do so.
Today marks a historic moment in America. For the first time in 6 years, the United States government has officially shut down. This is because Congress has failed to reach an agreement on federal funding. And once again, ordinary citizens are the ones caught up in the mix, where Republicans and Democrats blame each other. So President Trump insists that he's going to use the shutdown to fire hundreds of federal workers and change permanent health policies brought in by Obama. So millions of workers and families are left facing uncertainty. So let's have a deeper look. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing.
Well, the Democrats want to shut it down, and so when you shut it down, you have to do layoffs. So we'd be laying off a lot of people that are going to be very affected, and the Democrats, they're going to be Democrats. As you know, this country, no country can afford to pay for illegal immigration, health care for everybody that comes into the country, and that's what they're insisting. And obviously, I have an obligation to not accept that. That would affect everybody. And so we're doing well as a country, so the last thing we want to do is shut it down. But a lot of good can come down from shutdowns. We can get rid of a lot of things that we didn't want, and they'd be Democrat things, but they want open borders. They want men playing in women's sports. They want transgender for everybody. They never stop, and they don't learn. We won an election in a landslide. They just don't learn. So we have no choice. I have to do that for the country. Yes.
So what the Trump administration is doing right now with this shutdown threat isn't really about a budget. It's about control. And once you understand the psychology behind it, you can see exactly how they're trying to play the American people. Now, normally, right, when the government shuts down, workers are furloughed. They take a pause and then they come back once the shutdown ends. But this time, Trump's team is saying, no, no, no. Permanent firings. That's not a plan to save money. That's intimidation. It's a fear tactic because when people are scared of losing their jobs, they're less likely to speak up. They're less likely to push back. They're less likely to resist. That's how you control the workforce without passing a single law. Now pay attention to this part. The Office of Management and Budget told agencies to cut jobs that don't, quote, align with Trump's agenda. That has nothing to do with whether the jobs actually helps Americans. It's about whether it benefits him. That's authoritarian psychology 101. It's saying your survival depends on the loyalty to one man instead of service to the country. And here's the bigger game. By threatening whole programs like education and healthcare and housing, even scientific research, Trump positions himself as the one who decides if you get to eat, if you get to keep your healthcare, if your kids get an education. Psychologists call this learned helplessness. When people start to feel like they have no power to change things, they stop trying. They stop fighting back. And that's exactly what leaders like this want. At the same time, he's still shouting, America first. But think about it. If you're cutting education for kids, healthcare for families, housing support for struggling communities, that is not America's first. That is Trump first. That's gaslighting. That's saying one thing while doing the opposite and hoping you're too confused to call it out. And at the heart of all of this is a narcissist playbook. Create a crisis, break the system, scare the people, and claim you're the only one who can fix it. It's chaos by design. And the cost doesn't fall on him or his billionaire friends. It falls on you, your job, your family, and your future. So here's the real lesson. Don't just watch the politics, watch the psychology. Every move is designed to make you afraid, to make you dependent, and to make you quiet. But once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. And once you see it, you can call it what it is. Because at the end of the day, folks, if the president is willing to sacrifice your paycheck, your health care, and your child's education just to protect his own power, we have to ask ourselves, how much longer are we going to sit quiet and let fear control us? By holding jobs and health care and housing programs hostage, Trump positions himself like the provider, like the father figure who decides if you eat, if you have health care, if you keep a roof over your head.
This government shutdown should be a springboard for a general strike. What is a general strike? Why is it needed? Look at this government as a car with 500,000 miles, 3 flat tires, a broken fan belt, leaks oil. Does it matter if a Democrat or Republican drives that car? No, it's broken. Unless you reverse Citizens United, you increase minimum wage, you make housing affordable, you don't have rich people buying the government, dark money, APAC, and corporations. Until you put women's rights back in there and sensible gun reform. If you're not going to put those things in there, then I don't want to participate in this society because it is not working for we the people. And the fact that the Democratic Party is only focused on healthcare is an absolute failure of leadership. We have fascism in this country, people in concentration camps, people that are being snatched off the street, people that are being racially profiled, free speech is being under attack, political enemies are gone after, we have military in our cities, and they're worried about health care. Get a grip, man. Get a grip. Pull your heads out of your asses, Democrats. 2025strike.com. You need about 3.5% or 12 to 13 million people. Listen, I'm not an expert at this. I don't have all the answers. But what I know is this, is that fascism takes over when good people do nothing and they sit by. This is the only way I know. You get enough people to sign the petition and then you go on strike. And I understand you can't afford to, and that's why we have to do it. Because this country doesn't care about you and I. What's happened in the last 8 or 9 months? They've renamed the Gulf of Mexico. They've taken away health care from 16, 17 million people. And we're separating families and putting little children in airplanes at 3 a.m. and sending them out to countries that we don't even know where the hell they're going to. This is not time for us to sit around and be like, but me. No, This is the time that we come together and we shut it down.
Donald Trump and the Republicans are threatening to shut down government because they rather take health care away from millions of people than keep the government open. Look, at the end of the month, the federal government runs out of money, and that means Congress needs to pass a new budget. But here's the thing. This budget fight is about saving health care for millions of people. Health insurance premiums are skyrocketing. Hospitals and clinics are closing. Cancer treatment for children is being canceled. Why? All because Republicans in Congress gutted health care like the Affordable Care Act and Medicaid. But rather than address this health care crisis, the Republicans just want to shut government down. It's amazing the lengths these Republicans will go to make sure that a visit to the doctor is even more expensive. Republicans need to get serious, restore health care, and avoid a government shutdown.
We all have to get behind the Democrats calling for a shutdown. And Trump supporters, I am talking to you too. We need the Affordable Care Act subsidies to become permanent. And over 50 conservative groups are urging Trump to let them expire. And let me tell you, this is one example of the math. A couple who are 55 years old, collectively bringing in $85,000 a year, currently pay, on average, in healthcare premiums, $7,500 a year. If these Affordable Care Act subsidies expire, their premium, are you listening to me, Trump supporters? Their premium jumps to $24,000 a year. So while the billionaire class continues to become ungodly wealthy under this administration, private healthcare insurers and all of their executives are going to make a shit ton of money because they'll get to charge you another $17,000 a year. Just a couple making $85,000 a year. A lot of us don't make that much. Who can afford to have 25% of their income go to healthcare premiums? We're just going to become uninsured. No one's going to be able to afford that. Are you ready for this, Trump supporters? Instead of owning the libs, can we not all get together and agree this is really, really, really bad and it's okay to jump sides one issue at a time? Can you do that to save yourselves? Please.
I wish Democrats would fight this hard for American citizens, especially our veterans. Right now, they are ready to let the government shutdown happen. Chuck Schumer is pushing that any government funding bill must protect healthcare access and prevent Medicaid cuts, including extending Affordable Care Act subsidies. Sounds good, but remember, this is the same person whose agenda prioritizes giving undocumented immigrants legal work status. His message on illegal immigration? Break the law and you will be rewarded as long as we get your votes. Meanwhile, millions of U.S. citizens still have no health care, and the Affordable Care Act has not fixed that. Veterans and everyday Americans are left behind while the focus is on rewarding illegal behavior.
We are ready, as Democrats, to keep the government open and to save your health care. But where in the world are our Republican colleagues? There's more mentions of Donald Trump in the Epstein files than there are House Republicans here in Washington, D.C. today.
This is the Donald Trump shutdown. Don't let them fool you. Don't let them lie to you. Don't let them gaslight you.
This is just a reminder that when the government inevitably shuts down tomorrow, Republicans have control of the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. So, don't be going online and making yourself look incredibly uneducated, saying Democrats shut down the government, because you did this.
I
I have to tell you what just happened at my house. Kids are so smart and they just get it. I stopped to ask my husband a question about the government shutdown to just confirm that it wouldn't impact New Jersey Transit, because tomorrow I have to go to Brooklyn for a cheese event. And he's like, no, it won't impact New Jersey Transit. And my youngest child, she's little, she goes, why would the government shut down? And so I just quickly explained to her, I said, well, they have to negotiate because they're trying to save healthcare so that way the Republicans don't take healthcare away from Americans. And she paused and looked at me and she goes, wait, are they American? I go, yeah. And she goes, they're Americans. I go, yes, they're Americans. And she goes, so Americans are trying to take healthcare away from Americans? I go, yeah. And she goes, why would they do that? And I was like, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why. So you see how kids just know? They know it's wrong. It is wrong. And when the government shuts down, it's all on the Republicans.
If the government shuts down, who's in charge, really? Because what if that is the point? There's this idea called the unitary executive theory, and it says that all government should flow through the president. No checks and balances, no independent agencies, just one man at the top. Guess what? It is one of the main goals of Project 2025 to centralize power in the executive branch. A shutdown like this will sort the government into two categories, essential and non-essential. Guess who gets to make the determination? The president, the executive. And then meanwhile, Congress over here arguing amongst themselves. They're broken, bitter, powerless. And he gets to say, look, only I can keep the lights on. Only I can fix this. Look, shutdown furloughs like this can let you starve agencies that you don't like. Replace federal employees that you consider deep state with loyalists. Also in Project 2025. My point is, what if this is not just about budget cuts, but this is a purge under the guise of crisis? Look, the longer the shutdown drags out, the more it feels like a national emergency. And in times of national emergencies, presidents take more power, and history says it's not temporary. Since the 1980s, the United States has had 14 government shutdowns, or funding gaps, whatever you want to call them. All right, I have lived through damn near all of them. I'm more concerned about this one. This is how you turn a shutdown into a step toward authoritarian rule. Quiet, mostly legal, and set up as you saved the country. So the real question isn't whether the government's going to shut down, because that's happening in a few hours, baby. The question is, what's going to replace it? And are we paying enough attention?
At the end of the day, a government shutdown is not just a political shutdown. It is a direct hit on the lives of ordinary citizens, Our families waiting for paychecks, travelers stranded in airports, and communities depending on government services all pay the price, while politicians in Washington continue their endless battles. So whether this shutdown lasts for days or weeks, the damage will already be felt by those who can at least afford it, So the question in everyone's mind is, how long will the shutdown going to take place? Are they going to come into agreement? So regular citizens are forced to suffer before leaders put aside politics and put the people first. And I've seen so many people saying that the U.S. government, it's like it doesn't care about them, At this moment, they feel that nobody cares about them, not even the right wing, not even the left wing, Everybody is just trying and see how to survive because things have gone up. The cost of living has gone up so high. People can't afford to live anymore. Things have become so expensive in America right now. And most Americans are not even concerned about the shutdown. They're just worried and are hoping that the government can just reduce the cost of living in America, which has become unbearable for many. I've seen this also has a big impact on other countries. Like I've seen that the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi announces suspension of some operations, including halting social media updates until full operations resumes. So this is affecting people all over the world. So let's hope that shutdown is not going to take for long. All eyes on them. So until then, the nation waits and the world watches what is going to happen. Okay? Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.